retired after 6 seasons with the Yellow Jackets, and up the ball goes. And Georgia Tech starts off in their home white jerseys, going against Jacksonville in their green with the black trim down the side. Backdoor and good. The nice look for Dorado.
Beautiful basketball for Georgia Tech on that very first possession. A lot of flex action with the backdoor cut. And Turnage, the big 6'6" center for Georgia Tech, loves to pass the ball. You saw that there.
Coach says she is a underrated facilitator, understanding where to get the ball. The backdoor eaten up by Georgia Tech, and the first turnover for Jacksonville, but they get it right back on the sideline. So a little bit of hot potato to start this game as Georgia Tech, and a new addition as Brianna Turnage out of Florida State, working baseline, returning back home. She spent some time at Westlake at another Atlanta school where Coach mentioned winning the state. And there's Dorado trying to look for another look at the baseline. That one no good. As Priscilla Williams trying her best at the rim and off the mark on her first attempt.
Finishing over Turnage is a tall task. One of the bigger players that you'll see in ACC play this year. Priscilla Williams, great size and length, but couldn't get it over Turnage.
Turnage, 6'6", the junior center out of Zaragoza, Spain. Averaging about 5 rebounds and just under 2 blocks per game.
And Angel, Georgia Tech wants to make this game fast. They want to go, they want to get out in transition. 70+ possessions is the goal for Karen Blair. If I'm Jacksonville, because this team is a bit undersized compared to Georgia Tech, I want to slow it down, try to play it more in the half court, and then pick my moments where I can attack in transition.
A couple of substitutions for Jacksonville. That's what we've seen over the season, just trying to keep up with that pace, that speed, especially how Georgia Tech loves to push in this new era for KB, as they call her here at Georgia Tech and Karen Blair. 3 turnovers so far for Jacksonville, only 1 field goal attempt. On the other side, Georgia Tech has been efficient trying to get to a look, and just short on that look for Turnage. So another look off the rim for Tatum Brown.
And I like Jacksonville attacking in that situation. Turnage misses the layup, right? So she's behind the play. She's the last one to get down the floor, and that's not a fault of hers, just naturally how that play progressed. So in that situation, when you have numbers, that's when you want to see Jacksonville push the rock.
Jacksonville coming off of a disappointing loss against Florida, so took a trip to the SEC. Now in the ACC, where Coach Special Jennings was mentioning that her team has to find ways to make plays. Off the bounce, the flood pass, more movement on the perimeter, just 3 seconds on the shot clock, and they'll get it back with 0.7 to work with.
Look at those rotations from Georgia Tech. Coach Blair told us that this team is ahead of schedule defensively. Maybe not as much offensively, but definitely defensively, and you're seeing a lot of effort there.
Enough time for a catch and shoot, but that's off the mark, and a shot clock violation for Jacksonville. So they have not had great possessions with taking care of the ball, but to your point, Georgia Tech and how they are ahead of the game right now on the defensive end on full display.
And that shows an early look at the culture of what Karen Blair's trying to build, because you know, Angel, defense is effort. So when your team is ahead of schedule, yes, they're trying to gel offensively with a team full of 10 new players, but they're giving that effort and that communication on the defensive end.
As they're on the offensive end, we'll talk about defense in just a second, as the first look for Walker, no good. Rebounded her own miss, and we'll get 2 free throws. So Georgia Tech, as we mentioned on the defensive end, is just one of 2 teams in the nation to be at least 4th in defensive rebounds per game, 7th in shooting defense, and 24th in scoring defense, joining Ohio State. But as you look back at that, you understand why we highlighted Miss Walker in the open.
Well, and so much of defense is rebounding too, and I know that's a big point of emphasis for Karen Blair as she's taking over at Georgia Tech and trying to bring in players that can help her with that, as she inherited a program with just 3 players. One of those is Talayah Walker, who's been really good at getting to the rim and coming off a big game against Charleston Southern last time out.
As you mentioned, her season best at 19 points. So from the field, both teams continue to try and find their stride. Jacksonville has not made a field goal. Georgia Tech shooting just 1 for 5 from the field. And then Miss Walker enters the chat.
And this is a game where Talayah Walker, because Jacksonville's undersized, she can post up and use her athleticism on the block. You saw that. in that situation. And a good pass from Snoop Turnage.
Turnage also coming off of a career best 13 rebounds. Previous was 11 back at Florida State, as we have our first substitution for Georgia Tech. Catherine Albin, excuse me, out of Snellville, Georgia, also had a stop at Charleston Southern.
And she's their leading scorer, coming off the bench, averaging over 15 points per game. She is quick, so much speed in her game. Keep an eye on her.
You mentioned the points that she scored off the bench. Georgia Tech with 56 points off the bench. Only one starter scored in double figures. That was Walker in their previous game.
This is a deep roster. Now you might say, well, she just brought in all these players from the portal, but she's got some talent on this team, Coach Blair does. And she's not a coach that just wants to play 6 or 7. She wants to go deep on the bench, 9 or 10 players getting out there.
As you can see, the balance effect that we're seeing from Georgia Tech to start. Yellow Jackets, back door, and just off the mark for Termes.
That's 2 misses near the rim for Termes. For Georgia Tech to reach their potential this year, Termes has got to be able to finish down low.
5 different players scored in double figures for Georgia Tech in their previous matchup. They did drop one here at home against Princeton. After some fourth quarter heroics by the Tigers, as Brianna Turnage gets the N1.
Turnage has such good size at 6'1", playing the 4 for Georgia Tech. Also can play out on the perimeter. An elite rebounder, as we've talked about, coming off 13 rebounds against Charleston Southern. But that time, just using her strength inside to score.
More substitutions for both sides as we go back to Turnage, where Coach Blair said that was her first commitment out of, well, when she came here out of the portal. Mentioned her being the heart and soul of the team, one of the 2 captains, along with Inez Naredo. Misses an opportunity to make it the 3-point play. And picks up the foul on the other side. A little bit too much aggression from Brianna Turnage. So a quick 7-0 start here for the Yellow Jackets. As we mentioned, this is a team that you're excited about seeing their effort on both sides of the ball. As we can see at the top of the key, Albin making it difficult on White.
And Angel, you mentioned the Princeton loss. I think Princeton's a really good team. That's going to be an NCAA tournament team. Georgia Tech led by 8 in the fourth quarter in that game, let it get away from them. Princeton is a team that's played together for a long time. Georgia Tech obviously hasn't, so I thought that was actually a somewhat encouraging loss. I'm not sure Coach Blair would agree because it was a loss, but they played well against a good Princeton team, and Georgia Tech's just going to need some time, as we talked about with this new roster that they have.
Ivy League favorite for this year, so putting some respect on Princeton's name.
It's a good team,
when
well
you
coached.
think about also how they showed up here at Georgia Tech with a very long travel journey here, 11 hours that we heard that it took for them to get here for their first game, and still walking away with a win. Kamari Mitchell at the free throw line, 5'8" sophomore guard, couldn't connect. So points hard to come by for the Dolphins. Coming in at 2-1. And a foul at the rim. So we mentioned coming in. So Carmea Bowman picks up her second personal foul, which will lead to Collie Howard checking in. But before the game, Kelly, we were talking about what type of offense we're seeing from Georgia Tech right now. Both teams have somewhat struggled from the three-point line to start, but the balance that we're seeing and the aggression from the Yellow Jackets has been solid.
Yeah, and Coach Blair was saying we got to hit some mid-range shots so that it can open up the lane a bit more, so they have to respect our 3. It can't just be 3s and layups. And I like how Georgia Tech's attacking the rim so far, knowing they have a size advantage. Savannah Samuel, another player with great size at 6'1", attacking the rim. Now at the top of this press for Georgia Tech.
That is something Coach Blair said she wanted to see more of from her team, to get some easy stops with more pressure. Jacksonville able to take care of the ball. The back door, and I spoke too early, as another turnover for Jacksonville. That'll be the 6th in 5 minutes of play. Off the leg, on the floor, and White able to escape the pack, pushing up the floor. 2-on-3, backdoor, and they get their first bucket with just under 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
That's what the Dolphins have to do. When they do force a turnover, when they have numbers, you've got to push and take advantage of those opportunities.
Jacksonville coming in off of 3 consecutive losing seasons, was put 7th in both the ASUN preseason polls. As we have a lot of contact on the baseline, and we're just hoping both players are okay. So Kamari Mitchell picks up the foul, and we'll have a quick break. We'll be right back. At the free throw line. He transferred from Long Beach State in Australian, off the mark for the first of the 2. We mentioned 90% of the production gone from a season ago for Georgia Tech. Started the season last year 15-0 as a putback there for Georgia Tech, but their start last year, best in program, 15-0, got to the NCAA tournament, but an understanding of the pieces here this season, Coach Blair really enjoys the effort that she's been able to see on both sides of the ball.
Look at De'Asia Thomas-Harris running the floor. That pass a little high. She had the big rebound and put back earlier. She was out really early getting shots up today. I want to say at least 90 minutes before tip, maybe earlier. She was the first Georgia Tech player out on the floor. She's one of 3 returners. We've talked about Inez Noredo and Ari Termes. Those are 2 that are 2 starters for Georgia Tech. Thomas-Harris is that 3rd returner, chose to stay with Karen Blair, trying to develop under Marsha Fries, the post coach, and really good sign that she was out here getting shots up that early.
And a true rebounder for this squad. Had 6 points against Charleston Southern, 10 rebounds, her 2nd time in her career having a double-digit rebound game. Jacksonville just hasn't been able to just put the ball in the hoop. They're getting good looks though.
Georgia Tech's size is bothering Jacksonville inside. Thomas-Harris, Termes, those are some formidable post players inside that are tough to score over.
Albin in the rim, underneath, and the bucket good for Thomas-Harris. So back-to-back buckets for her.
I love what I'm seeing from her. Didn't play much last year as a true freshman. Stuck with Coach Blair, has a great body inside, good touch, and these quick guards are finding her in good positions.
Off the bounce, finds the glass, and the bucket is good. Collie Howard.
When you're undersized in the post, you've got to use your dribble. That was well done by Collie Howard. You're giving up some size inside, but you can use that speed and that first step to get to the rim.
Had her first 2 seasons at Cleveland State, adds another one. Now we're seeing that offensive flow for Jacksonville. As we mentioned, the first bucket coming in for the Dolphins was just under the 5-minute mark. Started the game 1 for 7 from the field, missed their first 6 shots. They have struggled with taking care of the ball as we do have a foul on the play.
Jacksonville getting things going on the offensive end. Collie Howard using that speed, quick dribble to get past Thomas-Harris. And then Kamari Mitchell, she's the player for Jacksonville, to me, so far that's played fearless. She's getting to the rim, she's using her athleticism, and she doesn't seem afraid for Jacksonville in this early going at Georgia Tech.
On the other side, Priscilla Williams picks up the foul. That'll be her first. As Georgia Tech is in the bonus the remainder of the first quarter, and that one is rattled in for Crawshaw back at the free throw line. As we mentioned, first season here after 2 at Long Beach State. Had 10 points in their win over Charleston Southern. We can hear the Jacksonville bench, and immediately we hear thank you because of the aggression that we're seeing from Priscilla Williams.
And Priscilla Williams has such length. She's an incredible athlete, former McDonald's All-American, as we mentioned in the Open, and she can get to the rim. One dribble. I mean, I think she put the ball on the floor once from the 3-point line, was able to get to the rim with her length. She's got to continue to be aggressive for the Dolphins.
You mentioned her McDonald's All-American nod, also had a very good year at Syracuse, averaged just under 9 points per game, missed The 21-22 season, though, had a serious head injury, and we talked about her being a bit of a journeywoman within this league. Syracuse, South Florida, Oregon, and now finding a home with Jacksonville. You've seen a lot of aggression from Crawshaw to start this game, looking to get the steal, and couldn't find it. Approaching the 2-minute mark here in the first quarter. The emphasis trying to get the ball on the inside, and we're seeing a different level of patience from the Jacksonville offense.
And I like how they're pushing the ball inside. In that situation, off the ball screen action, Moon got switched onto a bigger player, so they tried to push the ball inside and force that issue. That's a good decision from Jacksonville. Coach Blair for Georgia Tech was interested to see how her team would handle all this ball screen action that Jacksonville runs.
Burns recovers the ball, lines up for three, just wide right, and off the hands of her teammate Howard, so it will go back to Georgia Tech with 1:46 left on the game clock here in the first.
Jacksonville doing a much better job of getting better looks since that timeout. Feels like they have a bit more confidence since that media timeout. Coach Jennings making some adjustments, but still have to be able to shoot the ball a bit more consistently to stay in this game.
They've made 3 of their last 6 shots, and you can see the energy and ferocious look, too, for Bailey Burns on the defensive end.
Yeah, Burns, little contact here, tipping. That may have gone off Crawshaw. That, I don't know, that was close there, Angel. Of course, ball stays with Georgia Tech, but I like what we're seeing from Jacksonville. Like I said, more confidence since that timeout.
Special Jennings telling us she looked down the bench while they were playing Florida and said, I don't know who this team is. The first time they showed the lack of effort there. 5 on the shot clock for Georgia Tech. They are swarming as Jacksonville gets the steal. The 5th turnover for Georgia Tech. The pull up, no good.
You get the steal, you get the turnover, you have momentum, and then that's a forced shot, didn't have numbers. Would love to see Jacksonville bring the ball back out in that situation and run some offense.
Got to mention Tatum Brown and how she's trying to contain Erica Moon. Very speedy for Georgia Tech, the back door, and of course, Inez Naredo, the answer for the Yellow Jackets.
And Termes, another great pass. One of the best post-playing passers that we're going to see in the ACC this season.
I love that you asked, Coach, as Jacksonville puts another bucket up on the other side under a minute to play here in the first. He said, do you want her to be a little bit more mean in reference to Ariadne Termes? She said, well, I don't know, but I do know she has a mean sky hook. Hoping to see it here in this ball game. Jacksonville can hold for the final shot of the quarter as there is a foul by Inez Naredo.
And Naredo can't pick up fouls like that. She's going to be so important to Georgia Tech this year. Yes, you're trying to slow Jacksonville down in transition, but to pick up that foul in that situation, give Jacksonville a free throw opportunity. You can't do that if you're Naredo. You got to stay on the floor and also just realize time and score in that situation.
Especially, as you mentioned, putting them at the free throw line with the final seconds clicked off. And the first free throw goes down for Jacksonville. Before that, they were 0 for 4.
And this could help Priscilla Williams get going. As a player, sometimes if you miss your first couple shots, the best thing for you can be to get to the free throw line, take your time, see that ball go through the net.
Something that Jacksonville wants to build on, too, as 2 seasons consecutively coming into this one, they averaged the most free throw attempts in the nation. Outside shot, just off the mark, 5 seconds left. Jacksonville has time. Williams, pushing. Pop at the 3-point line, and the 3 they needed to make it a 5-point ball game to end the first quarter.
What a play from Priscilla Williams. You see a glimpse there in the first quarter overall, a much better start for them than when they played their last Power 4 opponent in Florida.
So second quarter underway, both teams shooting Georgia Tech shooting 38% from the field, and Jacksonville at 33%. Took some time to get going on this side of the ball. Under 10 left on the shot clock, the back door. The movement leads to the first bucket and one for Jacksonville.
And what a cut from Micaiah Miller. And a great pass as well here from White. A tough finish, getting the foul call there. Jacksonville continues with their momentum, and that's a really tough possession for Georgia Tech defensively. Shot clock was about to expire. Jacksonville gets the back door. If you let up for the last 3 seconds of the shot clock, you can give up a big bucket like Georgia Tech just did.
Micaiah Miller able to complete the three-point play. On the other side, some direction for Special Jennings, who was telling Mikey White, shoot the ball. Everyone has to be the aggressor on the offensive end. So Jacksonville putting up their first points here in the second quarter. Cross-court pass by Turnage, nothing for Naredo.
Good closeout by Jacksonville to get out on that shooter in Inez Naredo.
Moon off on the three. Georgia Tech starting this ball game 0 for 3, 0 for 4 now, from distance. Tipped around a little bit, another turnover for Jacksonville. That'll be their 7th of the ball game.
And that's just a bad angle. That is not a good angle to make that post-entry pass from the top of the key for Priscilla Williams.
We were both guards. We know that comes from the post player. Next pass.
That's right. Get it to the wing, and then you can get the ball inside.
We're seeing the speed and the length from the two-way player, Inez Naredo. Coach Blair said, we cannot lose that side of the ball from you.
And Naredo's stepping into a bigger role for Georgia Tech this year. Was a very solid role player for them last season. Now needs to be one of their number 1 or number 2 options, but she's so good defensively. As you mentioned, Angel, they want her to stay focused on the defensive end while also giving them more scoring.
Coach says she has a green light. I think that's on both sides of the ball. She mentioned that she was finding her spots. But as you also recalled, trying to lead this team as Jacksonville has really found their groove here in the second quarter, tying it, Kelly, at 17.
5-0 run to start this quarter for Jacksonville. And a lot of it has started for them on the defensive end. They're bringing the energy, they're bringing the effort defensively, turning some of those turnovers into points and able to get out and run. I feel like a lot of this confidence for Jacksonville since that media timeout has come from how they've played defensively.
Georgia Tech desperate for a good look at the rim this possession. They have missed 7 of their last 8 attempts. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Jacksonville have all 5 points here in the second quarter. And an offensive foul going against Georgia Tech as Talayah Foster picking up her second foul, trying to turn the corner.
And they called Foster here for extending that right arm and initiating the contact there with Micaiah Miller. And Georgia Tech, they haven't been able to get in transition. When Jacksonville stopped turning the ball over, Georgia Tech wasn't able to run, and they have been stagnant offensively in the half court.
Right now, Georgia Tech has 0 fast break points. Top of the key, another one that doesn't go down for Priscilla Williams. Walker, who has been quiet after her bucket in the first quarter. That was early in the first 2 minutes of play. Inez sends it to the wing, and that's very good for Georgia Tech's first triple of the ball game coming from Turmis.
Turmis and Naredo, 2 of the returners for Georgia Tech. They have a really good connection. They love a pick and pop, and Turmis, a great three-point shooter off that pick and pop action.
A lot of contact underneath. It looks like it will stay with Jacksonville. We'll see who it goes against, and they're saying it's going against Ariadna Turmis.
Look at this pick and pop. 2 players go with Naredo off the screen, and Turmis slides back beyond the three-point line, says, give me that ball. I may be 6'6", but I can shoot the 3, Angel.
Knocking down her first 3 of the season, entered today 0 for 7.
She showed that ability last year. It was just a matter of time before she knocked it down.
Very rarely do we see the connection for defense and clogging any gaps the way we did from Georgia Tech, trying to prevent Priscilla Williams getting to the paint. Walker trying to find her way at the top hip. More movement, Turnage, 1 too many steps, and a travel. So Jacksonville turning up the heat on their defensive side and causing the 7th turnover for Georgia Tech.
That high hedge on the screen, it was really disruptive. Just getting Georgia Tech uncomfortable. That's what Jacksonville's been able to do in this quarter.
Hesitant for Miller at the top of the key. You can almost hear the rumblings of shoot the ball from the Dolphins bench, and out of bounds it flies off the fingertips of Miller. Just under 7 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Coming back into the second quarter, we mentioned how Jacksonville was able to make their run, and it was because of them taking care of the ball. Had failed to do so in the last 2 possessions. Turnage off the mark, and a great rebound, almost a group rebound for Jacksonville. Priscilla Williams coming out of the pack.
We've talked about how Jacksonville's giving up some size to Georgia Tech, but they've only given up 2 offensive rebounds to the Yellow Jackets so far. That is impressive. With Georgia Tech size inside, with 6'6" Turnage, Talayah Walker, these players, Snoop Turnage, known for their rebounding, but Jacksonville holding their own on the board so far.
Georgia Tech coming into this ball game plus 17 on the boards. And as you mentioned, Jacksonville matching their fight at the rim. Turnage, backdoor, eaten up. White with another steal, pushing out in transition. Brown dishes it on the inside, and it doesn't count if it goes underneath the basket, only if it goes over the rim.
But that was definitely a foul, and good call by the officials. Talayah Walker commits the foul, and Jacksonville just looks like a different team since that media timeout. They've been picking their spots, when to push, and Georgia Tech, like I said earlier, really not able to get anything going offensively, especially in the half court right now.
Jacksonville winning their first 2 ball games, especially the overtime season opener against Charleston Southern. They got that one 86-84. Went down to the Division II Florida Tech, winning that one 75-47. We mentioned the tough loss against SEC opponent at Florida. And they are still looking for their first win on the road as they are now making their trip to ACC, Georgia Tech territory. Making it a 1-point game after that made free throw. And a bit of a scoring drought for Georgia Tech. Walker tried to get it on the inside, and it was knocked out of bounds. 15 on the shot clock.
We talked about Talayah Walker. We highlighted her in the open. I think Georgia Tech needs to see her be a little more aggressive. Look for her own shot, attacking the rim, trying to make some more things happen for the Yellow Jackets.
So Brianna Turnage, Snoop as they call her, getting the look underneath. You mentioned Walker as well, coming off of her career high 19 points at 3 threes. We have not seen that aggression to start this ball game. We'll see if that changes as we progress. Williams at the rim, over the rim. Erica Moon up top, primary ball handler for Georgia Tech this season. Transfer from Texas A&M, and that sails out of bounds to the Dolphins bench.
And credit Tatum Brown, number 2 for Jacksonville, the true freshman, highest rated recruit in school history, a top 100 player. She's yet to score today. She's 0 for 4 from the field, but let's see if this gets her going. That was really good defense, putting pressure on Erica Moon, and you see the energy and the excitement off of that defensive play.
Another offensive rebound for Jacksonville, and that just rolls off the side of the rim.
Second chance points are just not to be had today so far, Angel. Neither team getting much in that category.
The containment by White on the baseline, trying to find Walker in the paint. Inez with the rebound. Finding Albin, gets to the paint, gets it up, nothing there, stripped by Brianna Turnage, and she gets it back and finishes.
One thing Brianna Turnage is going to do is she's going to rebound. That's for sure. Has had 3 double-digit games so far this season in all games that Georgia Tech's played in double figures for rebounds.
That rebound going down to Walker, has numbers, deciding to take it to the paint. Held up a little bit by Tatum Brown, and 1 for Georgia Tech.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Talayah Walker using her size, using her strength to get to the rim and attack in the Big Ten at Penn State. But that's the key when you bring in a lot of transfers. It's players who are super talented but maybe didn't have as much success as at their first stop. You got to build their confidence back up. And that's what Karen Blair was really emphasizing to us today in shoot-around.
And so far, even with the new faces on the roster, we see a team that handles the ebbs and flows of a game rather well. It was tied at 17, and Georgia Tech since went on a 9-2 run, trying to continue to protect home court.
And that's why we play the non-conference, right? You're trying to figure out your team. You're trying to learn how they handle adversity. Who's going to step up? Who's going to be your number 1 and number 2 options? I don't think Georgia Tech really knows that yet, but they have to figure that out in this non-conference schedule.
So Jacksonville at the free throw line gets the 2.
The other player that I want to see be more aggressive and look for her own shot is Inez Naredo, who's so talented for Georgia Tech. Played really well against Princeton, as Turnage also showing that aggressiveness getting to the rim. But Naredo's got to be a player for me that has to average in double figures for Georgia Tech this year.
Well, Brianna Turnage with 8 points. She just has 1 rebound, which is rare air for Miss Turnage. On the other side, as you were mentioning with Naredo, 4 points, 7 rebounds though. So it's, to your point, how this team is trying to find each role for one another. It's being done by committee.
And I think that will be the MO for Georgia Tech this year. They will get it done by committee. And Naredo does a little bit of everything. She's an all-around player, can rebound, can guard. But I do think they need more consistent scoring from her this season if they want to really accomplish their goals.
Deasia Thomas-Harris was begging for the ball, found that placement on the block, and went to work.
Now, I love what we've seen from Thomas-Harris in her minutes. She has taken full advantage of her 5 minutes so far in this game. She has 6 points.
Only missed 1 shot from the field, as a nice look by Williams, couldn't connect, as Naredo finds Turnage and pushing the pace. Georgia Tech turns the ball over with the deflection from White. Mitchell at the rim, can't connect, gets her own rebound, pushes it outside to Burns, short on the 3.
That would have been a huge 3 for Jacksonville to keep this one close. And that was probably the best look from 3 they've gotten all day. Best time to shoot a 3. We know Angel off an offensive rebound.
Well, you know this because
Yes.
you were a sharpshooter yourself at Clemson.
Someone else get that O board. I'll just line up right here.
Priscilla Williams pushing once again. Tried the Euro, does a nice job drawing the foul, so she'll get 2 at the free throw line. So free throws 12 and 13 coming up for Jacksonville. It's about even as far as the free throw attempts for both teams.
And that's the second foul there on Talayah Walker. So assuming we won't see her for the rest of this half.
Erica Moon will be checking at the next dead ball as well. As that one's knocked down by Williams. 6 points now. For Priscilla Williams, 3 for 6 from the free throw line. Has already knocked down a triple, but has struggled from everywhere else on the floor, just 1 for 6. Another look at the rim. That is no good for Thomas-Harris, and it will go to Jacksonville. Less than 2 minutes to play here in the half. We've seen an effort from Jacksonville that was able to tie it at 17. Georgia Tech found their offense after that point. The take, Turnage tried to contain, and that's the second field goal for Priscilla.
Priscilla Williams is a different kind of athlete. She's so long, she's really quick on the first step, can get to the rim. I know she's struggled a bit from the field, but she's gotten to the free throw line. She has to keep attacking, just like she just did for Jacksonville.
8 points and 4 rebounds. Priscilla Williams, a player that started the season with 3 consecutive double-doubles. The only ASUN player with 3 double-doubles and only player averaging a double-double in conference play to this point.
Well, you look at her size. it's really impressive, especially in ASUN play, where Jacksonville is going to play their league games. She should dominate. She should be able to get a double-double virtually every night. And she wanted that one right there, Angel. That would have been a big 3 for Jacksonville.
It looked good, but there's a foul on the baseline. So Bailey Burns picks up the foul. That'll be her second, and the second team foul. Quick substitution for Jacksonville, able to get in. So Micaiah Miller will check in for Bailey Burns.
And Coach Jennings frustrated with this foul call, and I understand why, because Albin was going nowhere with that ball. There wasn't as much contact, but you've got to just lay off there if you're Bailey Burns, knowing Albin didn't really have a shot or a look.
Turnage trying to track it down, saves it inbounds, and here comes Priscilla Williams. Priscilla, Euro at the rim, gets the bucket. It makes it a 4-point game. And we welcome you to the Flats. Georgia Tech and Jacksonville both entering at 2-1. We've had a special game here as we've seen a little bit of the seesaw action. Jacksonville got their first bucket in the first quarter under 5 minutes of play, and their tenacity have led them back into this ball game right before the half, down 4.
Jacksonville is hanging around, Angel. I've been impressed with the fight from this Jacksonville team. Got down early, fought back, and now we've got a ball game heading into halftime. Priscilla Williams for Jacksonville, former McDonald's All-American, played at Syracuse, so she's familiar with the ACC. She has come alive since she hit that big 3 at the buzzer to end the first quarter.
Georgia Tech at the free throw line is Catherine Albin out of Snellville, Georgia, also making her first trip collegiately at Charleston Southern, knocks down 2 free throws. Under a minute to play here in the first half, as a couple of fouls have been spread out for both Jacksonville and Georgia Tech. Right now for Georgia Tech, as they're on the defensive end, Termis Walker and Foster with 2. The pull-up, no good. Knocked out of bounds, and it will go to Georgia Tech.
Jacksonville with a lot of momentum, as we've mentioned, Angel. You can't give up a big bucket here. Can't give up a 3, surely, because you feel like you have good momentum and you've gotten back in this game heading into the half.
Both teams have struggled from the 3-point line, just knocking down 1 each. 1 for 9 for Jacksonville, 1 for 6 for Georgia Tech. Erica Moon handling it up top, sends it to Albin. 5 on the game clock, working baseline, found the lane and the bucket.
She is so quick. What a quick first step from Catherine Albin, the senior, getting to the rim, providing a little bit more. Those preseason polls, I do think Duke and NC State, 1 and 2 at the top of the ACC, will be the 2 teams fighting for it at the end. But beyond that, who knows?
I was going to ask you, coming into the season, I know you break down the ACC, was at Media Day as well, got to hear from every coach, what that looks like coming in. And NC State had a very impressive win and just dropping their second one this season. But I do think that NC State has them out, in my personal opinion, over Duke at this point.
Yeah, those 2 are the 2 to watch, I think, in the ACC in terms of teams that can go far. I picked NC State preseason. NC State should have beaten Southern Cal. That was a tough loss for them and lack of execution down the stretch. TCU beat them today. TCU's very good, but I still think NC State is the favorite in the ACC.
Right now, Georgia Tech with 12 turnovers. A conversation you were having with Coach Blair before the game, and especially going against Princeton, was you have the 20 turnovers, you have another game where you bounce back, you only had 7 in your last one. How are they continuing to find ways to take care of the ball in this one is the question.
I thought that was a really good sign for Georgia Tech. Obviously, 26 turnovers against Princeton is tough, and only 7 against Charleston Southern is very impressive. They haven't done as good of a job today taking care of the basketball, but she said it was a lot of film and a lot of figuring out angles, where to pass the ball and when. And again, this team just still trying to gel.
That was stripped away by Erica Moon. Great hands as she's trying to find some offense for her squad. Walker, a little bit of a weave drill as she gets to the bucket.
Walker gets right to the rim. Jacksonville not quite ready in their transition defense, and Walker takes advantage.
Talayah Walker coming off her career high 19 points. Right now she's sitting at 7. And a great response on the other side from Priscilla Williams.
Priscilla Williams can get her shot whenever she wants. She's just got to pick her moments. That was a great take right at Snoop Turnage, who's a good defender. and gets right to the rim and scores.
Averaging 12 points, 10 rebounds on the season coming in. And the steal off of Turnage. Trying to find her space in the paint, and a block, another one by Naredo. The second block we've seen by a challenge in the paint, and Inez is saying, not today in my house.
That was really good communication from Jacksonville. You can tell they've worked on this in their scout. If Turnage, the big 6'6" center for Georgia Tech, if she puts the ball on the floor, we're gonna go trap. We're gonna try to scoop that ball out. That was a good play by Jacksonville.
Brianna Turnage picking up her second foul. And the first for Georgia Tech. Eight-point game, drive, kick, and still some outside shooting woes for both teams. Now Jacksonville 1 for 10 from outside. Moon can't change the narrative.
Just as you were talking about the threes, Angel, that was a really good look for Georgia Tech. In transition, open look, can't hit it.
You ask and you shall receive, Miss Scramling. Micaiah Miller knocks down the second three for Jacksonville, and it is a 5-point game.
Timely threes are so important. When you're trying to get back into a game, a three ball can be a huge momentum swing. We saw Princeton do that against Georgia Tech. They hit big threes. Jacksonville hits one, and now Turnage knocks one down for Georgia Tech.
Has both threes for Georgia Tech, as she had one in the first half. You mentioned her 6'6" frame. Soft touch outside can absolutely stretch the floor.
What a pretty stroke for a 6'6" post player. And Turnage knocks it down, but Jacksonville get it going from beyond the arc with Micaiah Miller. And then Turnage sets her feet, lets that thing fly. And you need to see a bit more production from beyond the arc for Georgia Tech outside of Turnage, but hey, they'll take that one.
Just short on the attempt at the rim. The rebound by Walker, who I believe, my comparison was Benijah Laney, just her strength, but an undersized player.
I like that. Rutgers great, Benijah Laney. Not super tall, right? Not huge inside, but plays much bigger than her stature.
Left it short on the attempt. Brianna Turnage able to collect it on the inside. Turnage, can she hit it again? No, just short.
Sometimes you're too open, Angel. I thought Turnage, she caught the ball. She said, "Where is everybody?" Kind of rushed it a little bit.
Kamara Mitchell will be checking in for Jacksonville at the next dead ball, along with Bailey Burns. As it will stay here with Jacksonville. 11 on the shot clock. And Deasia Thomas-Harris checking in for Georgia Tech. Turnage will take a seat. And Kamara Mitchell actually will step on the floor.
That was good defense from Naredo on Priscilla Williams. I think Karen Blair wants to see a bit more Naredo on Williams in this second half with how good Priscilla Williams has been at getting to the rim.
Tatum Brown directing on the floor, pulls up, midi good.
There's that freshman, gets her first points of the game, and now forcing a turnover is Mikey White. As Jacksonville, they just continue to hang around. And I always say, Angel, when you are the underdog in a game like Jacksonville is, you just want to hang around, continue to get confidence. And if you're Georgia Tech, you don't want to let Jacksonville continue to keep this game close as they get more confidence as the game continues.
Single-digit ball game as Jacksonville gets the ball back with the turnover for Georgia Tech. That is their 14th. Off the bounce, 10 on the shot clock, blocked by Turnage. Emphatically.
Snoop's got to be careful there, Angel. We know the officials are trying to crack down on some of the taunting, and she blocked that shot and stared right at her. The official's not going to call it there, it seems. That was a heck of a play, but she's got to be careful there.
Maybe it's because she walked away with it. We'll just give her
yeah,
that one.
All right, we'll take it.
5 on the shot clock. Williams pulls up, and another look, back-to-back buckets for Jacksonville. Makes it a 2-possession ball game.
I like Jacksonville applying this pressure off of a made basket.
Can they get another look? They draw the foul as Mikey White has been all over the floor. We said that Georgia Tech was swarming in the first half. I don't know what we can say about the Dolphins in the second.
Mikey White gets a high five from her head coach and Special Jennings. Priscilla Williams, such a quick release and a high release, able to get her shot off. And I really like what Jacksonville's doing, applying that full court pressure off of a make, trying to continue that momentum. Mikey White has been tenacious defensively today on Erica Moon, the point guard for Georgia Tech.
Still searching for her first points of the ball game, 0 for 2 from the field. Gets it at the free throw line, but it's the other things that she's been able to do to create energy.
She is a ball of energy. She is bringing that energy. Feels like a extension of Coach Special Jennings on the floor with the energy she's bringing defensively.
Can't connect on the second of the pair as Walker pulls it down. We asked Special Jennings what she or how she would assess her team to this point. She said resilient and tough. We've been able to see it in the last 3 possessions. Laredo has been quiet from the field. Close to turning it over. Backdoor by Moon off the glass. No. Here comes Williams. A lot of contact by Laredo in the open floor again. So that will be her second foul.
And that was very similar to that foul she picked up in the first quarter. Just not necessary to pick that up in the open floor. Just get back on transition, take a better angle, and there's no need for that contact.
Just keeping your eye on also Priscilla Williams, who landed awkwardly on that hand, came up grimacing, holding it a bit, but still stays on the floor, and she looks like she's okay.
Georgia Tech trying some zone, switching things up, Angel, trying to slow down Jacksonville with a 2-3 zone.
They're assessing, trying to get a look. The 3 ball by Tatum Brown is good.
Caught the zone mid-rotation. Turnage was supposed to come out, contest Brown for a second, and then go back to the bottom of the zone. She was too slow on the rotation, and Brown made them pay.
2-point ball game as we're approaching the halfway point of the third quarter. Here at McCamish Pavilion, where Georgia Tech starts the season with 5 straight at home, already dropping one to Princeton, trying to avoid it here as the look no good for Jacksonville at the rim. Brianna Turnage bringing the ball up the floor.
Georgia Tech trying to do point guard by committee, it seems, with Erica Moon on the bench. She's had some turnover troubles, so Turnage, Albin taking over at point guard.
Turnage also trying to work herself in the paint, short on the attempt, gets her own miss, and draws the foul on the putback.
She is so long, Angel. It feels like every rebound is an option for her. Like,
yeah, I still get out there with them on the floor, and I'm definitely one of the best players on the floor.
Which is crazy, Angel, because generally assistant coaches might play a little bit in practice, head coaches, and your head coach giving you buckets, that's a whole different situation, Angel.
I don't know. She has a lot of swag. I definitely believed her. And the numbers never lie as another effort for Jacksonville. So Turnage will pick up her third. As on the other side, yes, we have some point guards taking the floor, not taking the floor, but coaching it up for it today, as Karen Blair, 3-year point guard, is one of the most decorated players in SMU history. One of the 2 new head coaches in the ACC, and we already mentioned the 26 seasons as an assistant, now here in the Flats, taking over. 7 seasons at Maryland, 3 Big Ten titles, 7 NCAA tournaments. She understands what it takes to win at every level.
She does. She coached with Brenda Fries at Maryland and learned the ropes there. 26 years as an assistant, as you mentioned, Angel, which is a long time. But hey, Jacksonville and Special Jennings, they are giving Georgia Tech all they can handle this afternoon.
Jada Crawshaw just too aggressive on this take, extended that left arm.
That's the second time they've called Georgia Tech for extending that arm and leading to an offensive foul.
4 minutes to play here in the third. 2-point ball game. Jacksonville has not led until then.
Priscilla Williams continues to hit big shot after big shot for Jacksonville. This is a team that lost by 40 at Florida just a couple days ago. The resilience from Jacksonville to come in here and play like this is impressive.
First lead for Jacksonville for another 3 that goes down for Priscilla Williams. That's money.
She has been Jacksonville's best three-point shooter today by far. She's 2 for 5 from beyond the arc. You can't overcommit, Angel. You can't go for the steal and allow Priscilla Williams to get an open look. Anyone else for Jacksonville, sure, but not Priscilla Williams tonight.
Jacksonville is outscoring Georgia Tech 16-7 in this quarter. They are on an 11-0 run, and Georgia Tech has not made a field goal in the last 6 possessions. Ten on the shot clock and a foul at the top of the key. That'll go against Carmea Bowman. That'll be her 3rd foul, and quickly she looks towards the bench and gets ready to sub out as Collie Howard will now check in for Jacksonville.
Catherine Albin may be one of the fastest players in the ACC. She's so quick, and so trying to high hedge on a ball screen when she's the ball handler, I'm not even sure I would try. She's gonna get around you. I think I'd change up the ball screen coverage when she has the ball in that situation.
3 ball off the mark for Georgia Tech. Deasia Thomas-Harris able to track it down. The deep seal by Walker, spin short on the take. She did get fouled, and there's a little bit of a commotion underneath.
In this game, getting physical inside as Mitchell going for that rebound. Arms get tangled up. Priscilla Williams actually doing a really good job of making sure her teammate calms down and gets out of there.
That ties the ball game. As we let you know what's coming up next, we'll take you to Tallahassee for the 2nd game of our doubleheader. Florida State will host Indiana. Indiana with a 3-0 start. Florida State sitting at 3-1 going into this match. Only loss on the season against UConn. A new look for Florida State with no Talayah Watson, but my goodness, we've got ourselves a game with Priscilla Williams taking over here in the flats.
Priscilla Williams knew that ball was good the second it left her hand. She could just tell the way she held her follow through, started backpedaling. She is feeling it tonight against Georgia Tech.
Jacksonville was 1 for 9 from 3 in the first half, as there is a quick response by Talayah Walker. Count the bucket, she'll get a free throw, but going back to the threes for Jacksonville, they are 4 for 5 in the second half.
Tatum Brown hit the one against the zone, and then beyond that, it's been Priscilla Williams. You can just tell. Angel, that is one of the best feelings in sports. When you're feeling it from beyond the arc, you let that ball fly, and you know it's in. Just start backpedaling, baby. That ball's going through the net.
Ties it once again. How many times have we seen a tie or a go-ahead in the last minute of play here at McCamish Pavilion? Williams, she's a one-stop shop.
She's doing whatever she wants in this game. You've got Turnage on the bench with 3 fouls. I think Coach Blair has to consider putting Turnage back in to be able to guard Priscilla Williams maybe a bit earlier than the quarter break.
She's been the answer for Jacksonville, the only player in double figures for the Dolphins with 22. 3 for 6 from outside, has 8 rebounds, 7 on the shot clock. Covered on the inside and off the glass, gets it to go for Crawshaw.
What a shot from Crawshaw. The hook and the bank. I thought maybe the officials missed a palming call in that situation against Albin.
Williams tries to take, gets fouled. She'll get 2 at the free throw line for another go-ahead opportunity for Jacksonville. Both teams are in the bonus with 1:33 left here in the third, and some substitutions on both sides.
Look at this shot from Crawshaw. Good presence of mind to know the shot clock was winding down. You got to get a shot off, and somehow gets that to go.
Off the mark on the first of the pair. As a team, Jacksonville shooting just 62% from the free throw line this season. As that one goes down for Williams, who has been one of the most consistent free throw shooters from the field for Jacksonville this season.
She's getting a quick breather before we get to the fourth quarter. Good job by Special Jennings to give her this break heading into the quarter break, as they're going to need all she can give them in the fourth quarter.
She had 23 points sitting at that now, 13 in the third quarter, as there is another cough up by Georgia Tech and a great defensive effort hand out by Albin. At the tip of the game, we said we were expecting a fun one. We have indeed received that. Both teams 2-1 entering. And the three ball good. Why not? From Akaya Miller.
Jacksonville has come alive. 25 points in this third quarter.
They are 5 for 6 from 3 in this quarter alone. Jacksonville finding something from outside. A lot of bodies, and the take off the mark. Gets it back and able to roll that one in for Samuel. Excuse me, Thomas Harris actually able to knock that down.
Georgia Tech needs a stop badly right here, and Special Jennings wants a timeout, talk things over to really value this possession as they get close to the fourth quarter.
33.8 left here.
I really like the decision to call timeout there before the third quarter. You give Priscilla Williams even more of a breather, but it just shows how much you value this possession, value every point as you're trying to come up with an upset in Georgia Tech's own building.
Off the face of De'Asia Thomas Harris, they will get it back. 9 on the shot clock, 17.7 on the game clock. Jacksonville with the 2-point edge. Both teams in the bonus. Seen a lot more aggression in this second half. Plenty of time as both teams talked about the execution. 4 left. Got the corner and the bump, and we'll get 2 free throws with 2 seconds left on the shot clock.
A tough take from Kamari Mitchell. Use the entire shot clock and you get a scoring opportunity. That's what you wanted if you're Jacksonville coming out of that timeout. You still have 3 timeouts left to use in the fourth quarter. A lot of that is because Coach Jennings did not have to burn a timeout in the first half, so she had one to play with. I just think that's smart. Interesting gamesmanship, trying to make this game last longer, make it stretch out, make Georgia Tech continue to think about it, and maybe get a bit tight in the fourth quarter.
I will say it's really cool for us seeing this side view of the staff and the bench as well. Something new over the last couple of years is the coaches with the iPad and getting an opportunity for the players to also see their improvements or some things that they can look forward to for adjustments.
It's a great point, Angel. We're sitting right next to the Jacksonville bench, and they've got different coaches here using iPads behind the bench, looking at plays in real time.
4 seconds left to end the quarter. Gets the turn, not the bucket. Last second heave, no good for Georgia Tech as Jacksonville wins the quarter 25-15 and go into the fourth with a 2.
Coming out of high school when she started her career at Syracuse, familiar with the ACC, she's played here before, and it looks like it.
Making stops at Syracuse, South Florida, and Oregon as the look in the inside broken up by Teramis and nothing there for Miller. The putback is good, and so again, the first points of the quarter go to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's playing with so much more energy right now. That sense of urgency, it feels like Georgia Tech back on their toes, starting to get tight. Someone's got to take over and show that type of energy and fearlessness for Georgia Tech.
This is a completely different team as Inez Naredo not able to knock that down. Jacksonville pushing it in transition. More baseline help, and that was coughed up by Tatum Brown.
And that was a freshman play from Tatum Brown, right? She's so talented. She's going to be a great player, a former top 100 recruit, but still has those freshman moments. But then you see the effort causing that turnover, getting back after having a turnover of her own and then forcing one on the defensive end.
Short memory, 18th turnover for Georgia Tech. Special Jennings has to be thrilled with how she's been able, and when I say she, Tatum Brown, stepping up. As you mentioned, she told us, yes, she is a true freshman, but putting her in these moments now will help us later on in the season.
Absolutely. And Brown is from the Atlanta area, so I know she is excited to play in this one.
From Loganville, Georgia, went to Grayson High School as that's blocked by Termis at the rim. Still time on the shot clock for Jacksonville at 13. Going back to Tatum Brown, that was the player that Special Jennings said she has a lot of similarities to me. The fearlessness, the dog mentality. We'll see if it continues here in the fourth. The dish on the inside almost turned over, and it does sail out of bounds on the baseline. So Priscilla Williams with the turnover.
And that's what Georgia Tech has to do. A good possession for Georgia Tech defensively is a possession where Priscilla Williams does not shoot the ball. You have to get the ball out of her hands. She has been killing you on the offensive end. Make someone else beat you.
Double team leaves Turnage open. Just short of knocking down her third triple of the day, and Brianna Turnage couldn't put it back. Still fell in the breadbasket. Another missed attempt at the rim where Jacksonville couldn't corral it in, and Georgia Tech will get it back with 20 on the shot clock.
Georgia Tech will look back at this game, win or lose, and kick themselves for the missed layups. The missed layups have really hurt them. And Turnage attacking the glass, relentless effort, but you've got to get some of those layups to fall.
14 offensive rebounds. They do have 12 second chance points. Could you imagine the other opportunities to finish at the rim, what that could be? Turnage again steps out. 3-ball off the mark. Put back good for Savannah Samuel.
There's a finish, a strong take from Samuel getting that offensive rebound. That's what Georgia Tech needs.
All but 2 players have scored for Georgia Tech. Samuel getting into the passing lane and causing the turnover. 15 turnovers for Jacksonville. Underneath, and Nazareto couldn't connect. So 15 turnovers, but they haven't been able to connect. Can Jacksonville, though, just right?
Really good decision by Priscilla Williams. She knew she had Miller running with her, attacked the rim, set her shooter up for a good look, just didn't fall.
Brianna Turnage found the cutter and Inez, and that's a layup they do connect on. Georgia Tech has missed 13 on the day. Every single layup is important to them moving forward.
Absolutely.
And the movement for Georgia Tech causes a timeout for Jacksonville.
The last couple of times on offense, they've got to pass the ball like they have been, and they have to take care of the basketball.
Jacksonville has turned the ball over in the last 3 times in the last 3 minutes as Priscilla got bumped, and that will be a foul going against Savannah Samuel. So that'll be the first team foul for Georgia Tech.
Samuel trying to get over the screen. And Priscilla Williams trying to draw that foul there. I'm not sure I saw enough. There was some contact. Of course, she's trying to skinny up to get over the screen, but she didn't move her hip into Williams. I don't love that call, Angel.
Jacksonville does get it back on the sideline. They're looking for some points. They haven't had one in the last 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Coach Jennings just pushed Priscilla Williams out of the way to bring a different inbounder in for this play. She is a coach on the floor. She's really trying to get involved.
I love what she said. It's not easy playing for me, and sometimes it's not easy being pushed around on the floor. A lot of contact underneath. We'll see who it goes against. So Inez Naredo will pick up her third here, trying to scoot over for the offensive foul.
That looked like an offensive foul to me. I thought Inez Naredo got there in time, gave Bowman enough time, the time and distance, set her feet before Bowman left the floor. I don't love that call. I think that was an offensive foul.
Brandon Interline, Jeff Wooten, and Alexis Perez, the officials for today's game. First one goes down for Jacksonville. And the second one rolls in as well. 5 times we've been tied today, including 4 in the second half. I think that's changed a bit since then, too. The backdoor by Naredo, that's somewhere where she's really found some success moving without the ball.
And especially that connection between Turnage and Naredo. They seem to find each other, play really well together. They are both from Spain. They've been at Georgia Tech together for quite a few years, and you can see that connection.
The look by Turnage too much.
Another missed layup for Georgia Tech. Truly, when they watch film on this game, Angel, there's going to be, you know, as a former player, there's just going to be a compilation, missed layups. That is something they've got to fix.
You mean when you're sitting in the room with all the lights on and then the film comes on and you're having to explain yourself in front of all your teammates?
Are you feeling the trauma?
Just slightly.
We both remember those days.
So Crawshaw will check in for Turnage. 5:55 left in the ball game. Georgia Tech has it underneath with 17 left. Very congested on the baseline and a tie-up. How about the fight from Talayah Bowman? Able to give Jacksonville another opportunity.
Been so impressed with Jacksonville defensively, especially in this second half. The effort they're bringing, the energy, they are turning their defense and the success they've had defensively into good offense.
Priscilla found a lane, couldn't connect high enough off the glass. Erica Moon looking up. And a blocking foul. Taking some time to get off the floor, Micaiah Miller. She does pick up her first foul. And just a second on Jacksonville for the team. So still a drought for Jacksonville. Haven't scored in the last 4 minutes. Still have the 2-point edge as Georgia Tech looks to tie it or take the lead with a 3. A lot of congestion on the inside. Crawshaw found a lane off the mark. I think it hit every hand in the paint. Brianna Turnage off the glass and one. Count it for Brianna.
Massive play from Brianna Turnage. Again, another rebound for her. She has been one of the more consistent players for Georgia Tech tonight. She's all over the offensive glass, as she always is, and then able to finish through contact. Much needed bucket for the Yellow Jackets.
Ties the ball game once again at 55 as we're about halfway through the 4th quarter.
And Angel, I've been wondering where Talayah Walker is. She's now at the scorer's table to check in. She only has 3 fouls, but she hasn't been out there that much in the second half.
And we saw her go off in the 3rd. It was going back and forth, and she was a big part of it as the dish for Williams. Jamila Reed able to get on the board. Crawshaw pull up. So excuse me, Samuel on the pull up. And it will stay with Georgia Tech. Substitutions come in, as you mentioned. Talayah Walker will check in. Just a gentle reminder with the 3 fouls.
And Coach Jennings called that earlier timeout, so that became our media timeout around the 6:30 mark. No media timeout right now at the under 5 because we already had it.
Gets it underneath. Talayah blocked from behind from Talayah Bowman. Eyes up for Tatum Brown. Speedy. Didn't like the look, so decided to pull it back out. More look at the rim. And the left-sided layup no good. Another rebound, and it looks like Brianna Turnage got her hand in there and commits the foul. That'll be her 4th foul.
And that's big because Turnage has been doing so much for Georgia Tech. To pick up a foul that way, in that kind of skirmish and not on when she was contesting a scoring play, that is really tough for Turnage to pick up the foul and have to go to the bench now for Georgia Tech.
At the rim, and a dish underneath leads to free throws coming up for Jacksonville. What a slash to the rim. And an out of bounds underneath look.
And this is the game within the game when we talk about Snoop Turnage, who's been arguably Georgia Tech's most effective player tonight. She has 4 fouls. What does Coach Blair do? How long does she keep her on the bench? When does she put her back in? Because Turnage has been the most effective on number 23 right there, Priscilla Williams.
And when we say effective as well, you think about her doing it on both sides as Williams able to knock it down, extending the lead 59 to 55. But Brianna Turnage with 10 points and 9 rebounds, coming off of a game where she had 13. Every possession is important. And she creates extra ones for the Yellow Jackets.
I think you give it to the 2-minute mark and you put her back in, barring some crazy run from Jacksonville.
And watch Samuel top off. And 1 for Samuel. She has been a huge boost for them off the bench.
She has. She's played great in the second half. Coming off a big game against Charleston Southern when she had 13 points. And you can see her confidence continuing to grow. That is a huge bucket for the Yellow Jackets.
Carmea Bowman picks up her 4th personal, and that rolls in for Samuel. That makes it a 1-point ball game, a little under 4 minutes of play here in McCamish Pavilion. Erica Moon checks in a brief conversation on the sideline with Coach Blair and Catherine Albin. The reverse, just off the mark. A lot of fight underneath, and a tie-up, and it should go to Georgia Tech. You gotta credit what we're seeing from Jacksonville, who just a game ago lost 100 to 55 to Florida.
What a bounce back for Jacksonville, and Coach Jennings getting her team ready. It's a long season. If you have a tough loss like that, you've got to be able to put it behind you, focus on the next one, and Jacksonville's done a great job of that.
The dish underneath, too high, off the backboard, actually. And Jacksonville forces another turnover. That'll be the 20th for Georgia Tech. Very strong take and a drawn foul for Jacksonville.
Jacksonville continues to do what they do best, arguably, Angel, in getting to the free throw line. This will be their 24th and 25th free throw attempts. Now, I'm not quite sure where the foul was there, but this is what Jacksonville does. They get to the free throw line.
Averaged the most free throw attempts in the nation in each of the last 2 seasons. However, Kelly, they have only shot 69% in those seasons as well.
Well, and people think that getting to the free throw line is just about scoring, but really it's about getting the other team in foul trouble as well.
So off the mark on the second of the pair, a 2-point lead for Jacksonville as time is ticking away. 3:11 left here in the 4th quarter, and a timeout for Georgia Tech.
For them, which is pretty cool.
Well, you know. The good old days when the knees actually worked.
Exactly.
Out of the timeout, Georgia Tech couldn't connect on that putback for Jada Crawshaw, or off the glass rather, but Jacksonville giving it back right away. Special Jennings saying, look at the time, control the possession.
Exactly. She looked at Priscilla Williams. She pointed at the clock, telling her, look, there's 3 minutes left in this game. There's no need to rush. Bring that ball back out, run some offense, use the clock.
One dribble, picks it up, Walker, looking for relief, finds it in Moon, cross court. And an easy lay-in. Crawshaw having herself a second half.
Really good take. Pump fake, get to the rim.
But Priscilla Williams has been the queen of the show.
We are seeing a special performance from Priscilla Williams tonight for Jacksonville. We saw this Crawshaw bucket as she attacks the rim at 6 foot, using her size, and then Priscilla Williams, former McDonald's All-American, as I've said, going for a 30-burger. I mean, 27 points, career high. She's 9 of 16 from the field. She's been really efficient. Also has 10 rebounds. She is doing it all. What a game for her.
Starting the season with 4 consecutive double-doubles. is elite as she knocks that one down, as you mentioned, now with a new career high, 28 points. The previous high was 26 while she was with Syracuse. And of course, she must like the ACC because that was against Miami. Turnover. Can they get the look? And the block, actually a foul called on Inez Neredo, where Sharmella Reed thought she had a pick six.
You love to see a post player get out on the ball screen action, get the steal, and then get all the way to the rim. Look at the effort from Sharmella Reed. You could tell her teammates loved it. And again, I just can't say enough about Jacksonville's effort, especially on the defensive end in this game.
3 players with 4 fouls, really hunting Georgia Tech right now. Turnage, Neredo, and Walker. All 3 of them being starters, but you did mention, what is it gonna look like with Brianna Turnage off the floor? And right now, Jacksonville has been able to weather the storm.
And when do you bring her back? I said the 2-minute mark. I feel like it's got to be sooner rather than later.
It's a 2-possession ball game. Is Brianna Turnage also looking up like, when is my time to go?
You know that feeling as a player. You keep looking at coach, hoping to catch her eye, say, put me back in.
She might want to move up a couple seats. This is the biggest lead of the ball game for Jacksonville, for both teams rather, here in the second half. The double team, the cross-shaw 3, off the mark, off the hands of Tatum Brown. 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Can Walker get it off? And they'll say a shot clock violation. Special Jennings in the Dolphins bench feeling it.
With where the shot clock was, I thought Talayah Walker should have taken that 3. She had an open look. She's been shooting the ball well from 3 this year, and that would have been a better look for Georgia Tech.
And another one rolls in. 7-point lead with 90 seconds left here in the ball game. Georgia Tech looking for some help as Jacksonville on a 7-0 run. Foul underneath as Erica Moon was trying to get it to the rim. So Priscilla Williams picks up her 4th foul. That is also the 15th foul for Jacksonville.
Great move inside from Carmea Bowman. Jacksonville with a pretty commanding lead right now with 1:17 to go, but Georgia Tech does put Snoop Turnage back in the game, who's been, as we've said, one of their better players tonight.
Catherine Albin will be checking in for Erica Moon after she attempts the 2nd free throw. She knocks down the 1st. Moon has been somewhat quiet. That is her 1st point of the ball game. Been a frustrating night for Erica Moon, the redshirt sophomore and transfer from Texas A&M.
And that's a big offensive rebound here for Georgia Tech to get another possession, but they have to be aware, only 20 seconds on the shot clock. It doesn't fully reset.
And a turnover on the toss-in. Carmea Bowman gets back up and is able to get it up the floor. And a 10-second violation with the defense for Catherine Albin.
Great presence of mind from Albin to pressure the ball handler, knowing Priscilla Williams is not their primary ball handler, to get that 10-second violation.
That was huge here. A minute left to play. Walker off the bounce, count the bucket. So off that turnover, leads to 2, and maybe +1 as they continue to try to work themselves way into this lead for Jacksonville.
Georgia Tech needed points badly on that possession. Didn't need a 3 quite yet, just needed points. And now they've got an opportunity for a 3-point play.
So couldn't complete the 3-point play as Tatum Brown has the rock going against Catherine Albin that we already saw force the last turnover. Dangerous zone for Jacksonville, and Georgia Tech bailed him out with the foul on the baseline. They're actually going to say it's a timeout underneath.
And they get the ball to Williams.
She picks the ball up looking for help. Finds it in Miller. Miller able to pull up off the mark. And a quick timeout for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech with 2 more timeouts after this one. Both teams in the bonus.
Really good job by Termis to grab that.
Points. Does she get the look here? There was a quick face guard for Walker on the inbound. They find Termis. Samuel tried to get it in the paint and a block foul, but there will be free throws as both teams are in the bonus.
Georgia Tech was trying to get the ball to Talayah Walker. Jacksonville did a really good job of not letting them inbound the ball to Walker, and it felt like the play broke down a bit after that. Savannah Samuels drawing a foul there. Felt like Micaiah Miller held her ground and was already there. Samuels just kind of ran into her. I don't love that foul call.
And this free throw for Samuel. Georgia Tech shooting 50% from the free throw line. Now 48 on the evening, and she drains the second. Foster will check in for Georgia Tech. As Brianna Turnage, you'll see a little bit more of that offense-defense from Brianna.
And Turnage has the 4 fouls, so they want to make sure they keep this.
A reminder, she's shooting 64% from the free throw line as well. So do they elect to see who they want to put at the free throw line, as Priscilla Williams is fouled. She is 7 for 11 from the free throw line today.
And you have to foul if you're Georgia Tech. I just thought they were going to have a better chance to get some, to try to get a steal, to try to force a turnover, but Jacksonville able to inbound that ball pretty easily.
And can't connect on the first.
And I know Williams is not a great free throw shooter, but the way she shot it tonight and just the way that she's played, I still would want the ball in her hands at the line.
Connects on the second, didn't take any time, which was huge because it makes it a 2-possession game.
Do that, but you don't necessarily need a 3 here. But I would expect full court pressure off of a make.
A pull-up off the mark, and it falls into the breadbasket for Tatum Brown, who immediately gets fouled by Georgia Tech. We'll see who it goes against. 12 seconds on the game clock as Talayah Walker picks up her 5th foul.
This is just not a great shot for Georgia Tech. A long 2. If you're gonna take a shot like that, you've got to at least take a 3, Angel, and give yourself a chance to get a 3, but
I'm not sure if Talayah Walker understands that she's picked up her 5th, but they will bring in Savannah Samuel. So Tatum Brown will step up to the free throw line. Her first free throws of the day.
and Georgia Tech still has that timeout. Jacksonville with no timeouts left.
Special Jennings relaying that message to her team that they do not have any timeouts, while Georgia Tech does call the timeout. Communication key for Jacksonville. How much time do you allow to go off the clock before you get a good look? The step out, a quick shot. Nothing there outside for Albin, and a rebound for Priscilla Williams as she's just trying to see if she could dribble the ball out, and they do. Jacksonville with their first win over a Power 4 team.